And now I'd like to begin the introductions of our Alumni Spotlight Symposium presenters. Each will have about 10 minutes to present his or her topic, and the question and answer period will come during the panel discussion. So I encourage you to jot down notes, either mentally or otherwise, as we proceed. So let's get started. First, we have celebrated visual effects specialist Chris Edwards from class of 1997 from our School of Film and Animation in the College of Imaging Arts and Sciences. So Chris, I ask that you please come and join me on the stage, and I'll say a little bit more about you. For over a decade, Chris Edwards has been promoting the evolution and use of visualization in motion pictures, television, video games, themed entertainment, and new markets, including virtual reality. Following multiple years as a layout artist and character animator at Walt Disney, he joined a team of digital artists at Lucasfilm, tasked with pre-visualizing Star Wars Episode III, Revenge of the Sith, from the third floor of George Lucas Skywalker Ranch. Mr. Lucas himself was thrilled, and the team's results were so successful that in October of 2004, Chris spearheaded the founding of a new company, aptly named The Third Floor Incorporated, as a dedicated visualization studio in Los Angeles. Since then, the company has become the most prolific pre-visualization studio in the world, contributing to Hollywood projects from Avatar to Gravity, with credits on wide-ranging film and television projects such as Game of Thrones, Wonder Woman, The Jungle Book, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and the Avengers franchise. Chris is a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the Visual Effects Society, the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, and the Los Angeles branch of the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. So how's that for a pedigree? So Chris, congratulations on your many successes thus far. Welcome back to RIT, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Oh, man, I've been having flashbacks all day as I go down through the halls and remember all my good experiences here at RIT. And I realized that in putting this together, I wanted to do a different presentation than what I normally do, talking about what we've accomplished, because this is about the journey that you guys are going through, and about maybe understanding the underpinnings of why I set out to do what I did. So in order to do that, you need to understand a little bit more about my childhood. So it's important to note that my dad is a rocket scientist and my mom is a costume designer who was very much a artistic soul. And so between their influences, the tech side, appreciating the power of technology and appreciating art in many forms, I knew that I needed to do a combination of these things. On my dad's side, he taught me about computers, programming, and even video games. And then my mom was taking me to do oil painting and see classic Hollywood movies, double features, and sometimes even bringing 16mm films into my home whenever I was sick, sort of like Clockwork Orange. But my dad was confused because he was seeing what I did with different construction sets, like Erector set, Legos. He was like, well, why aren't you following the directions? That's not the kit that I bought you. I was just using it for raw materials because I was using that in a creative way. So then one day, sometime around junior high school, I discovered this book, and the book was about this company called Industrial Light and Magic. It turns out to be George Lucas's company that he set up as a means to do extraordinary things in his Star Wars franchise. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized this was my calling. I wanted to find a way to somehow train myself to be like these special effects pioneers, like Dennis Muren and Phil Tippett, that were there in the early days pioneering these techniques. And maybe that was my way to someday maybe work with or help contribute to the legacy of some of the filmmakers like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg that I admired. So I needed a school that was a combination of technology and art, and that was RIT. And so I went to RIT very happily so because I knew that I was going to get a practical education here that was going to let me choose my own adventure into a career that at that moment didn't yet exist. So after 4 arduous winters here in Rochester, character building winters, and 3 unpaid internships and lots of dedication, and also my own personal vendetta to finish my thesis animated project that I did. That was just barely enough to get me my job at Disney Feature Animation. It felt like Indiana Jones, where I was just like, they were like, throw me the whip, and I got straight into the door as it was closing. And somehow it was good enough for me to apply my arts to the world of feature animation for 5 years. And I worked my way up the ranks, and I realized that the higher I got in layout and character animation, the more I realized the flaws of some of that system. That there were many amazing things about working in iteration, using animation to build up a movie like a Pixar movie is built today. It's like architected to be perfect for that audience. I knew that they could do that more efficiently, and I knew that in the hands of the right team, I could make that into something that would apply beyond animation, into live action and beyond. So I did that at Skywalker Ranch, which was like my next job. So I got this miraculous job that they just don't advertise. Don't ask me how, it's a longer speech. But I got there, and we were literally on the 3rd floor with George Lucas. It was my dream come true. And then one day I was working, and there was another guy that George brought by, and it was, oh, it's Steven Spielberg. Oh, shit. So we worked for 2 years really hard, burning the midnight oil. And then we realized, wait, they're not very good draftsmen, but they're really good at coming up with cool ideas. So those are some Steven Spielberg originals and some George Lucas originals. And we used sophisticated media like napkins to draw scenes with R2-D2. From that to a complete animated visualization of the entire movie. So I realized we had this amazing team. So we made a painting to represent the inspiration of filmmaking. It was kind of like a projector mixed in with the Psycho house from Alfred Hitchcock, you know. And we said, let's make this into a company. And that's what we did. So we moved kicking and screaming from San Francisco to Los Angeles, where we had a sense that there was some filmmaking down there. And we went from there into this, which after 13 years, we have become the largest visualization company in the world. We sort of dropped the word pre and previs, and now it's visualization because we contribute to over 75% of Hollywood blockbuster movies and in many other medium. And we do this as a company founded by artists for artists. That's why directors really like to hang out with us. It really is a close collaboration. And we follow them all around the world. We have an office in London. We have an office in Los Angeles. I'm about to set something up in China. We're in Northern Ireland working on Game of Thrones. It's all over the place. But it's one team, one culture that's artist-centric. So we take care of everyone. Everyone has good pay, good jobs, benefits, and lots of other activities we do to keep our culture going. And we're really proud to say that among those are some really rock star, amazing RIT grads. For example, Shannon Justinson, who is literally the belle of the ball at Marvel Studios. So she was the supervisor of Beauty and the Beast, as well as the new Thor 3 movie, which is called Ragnarok, which is going to blow your socks off. And then there's Jim Baker, who also went here and went to Disney and was one of the supervisors of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Spider-Man Homecoming. So these represent 3 of the highest grossing box office, top 3 highest grossing box office movies of this year, just RIT grads. So we work on a ton of different projects, and I don't have enough time to explain them all, but we do have this amazing relationship with some of our biggest customers and friends at Marvel Studios. I'm coming back to haunt Lucasfilm on all the Star Wars movies in a good way. And here's a reel showing some of that work in previs form before it becomes the final movie. So take a look. Thank you. It's a big team effort, so hats off to the team for making that possible. And just please don't think of this as just a filmmaking tool. This is something that goes well beyond film and television. It's theme parks, it's video games. Anytime you go to a Universal park, you'll more than likely see one of the attractions that we helped prototype, working on the screens and the engineering behind the ride systems. And so whatever you're creating, you should be able to help the creators, the decision makers, even the producers controlling the budget, make sure that they are applying their resources as creatively as possible and as efficiently as possible. So usually that begins with storyboards, and then you build the world, all the digital assets. Then you can scout them with virtual reality. Then you can bring that vision to life and animate it or do motion capture of those performances. Lens it in any particular way. Try out multiple angles. Go from there into learning things technically about what we've just created so that we can reproduce them on set or maybe even play them back live like you can see here in this clip. And then whatever you don't do on set, you can do as a rough post process, something we call post-viz. And that's the best way, I think, to win visual effects Oscar. So far, so good. Because we've been involved in all these productions, and every time we've learned something new that was about how the technology can serve the art and vice versa. So now I want to show you a clip from sort of the culmination of some of those things as a little behind-the-scenes mini clip of our work on a particular sequence in Beauty and the Beast.
The Be Our Guest sequence was a highly creative and collaborative showpiece, bringing together storyboards, choreography, art department designs, full Broadway lighting, and musical timing. We had prevised the scene end-to-end as a first step in pre-planning a very tight second unit shoot that had to account for both CG characters and staged real items that would be operated on set using physical wenches. We visualized the room to the specs of the live shoot, with the previs camera showing what the on-set camera would need to capture. We worked out how to move a technodolly through the dining room interior set with precision for all 60 shots in the scene, setting the technodolly the Maya FBX curves from the TechViz to replicate per shot. Some of the more ambitious shots definitely made great use of the technodolly to go from side angles to overheads to quick pullbacks within a fairly confined space amidst an array of static art and production department kitchen and room props. To aid on-set visualization, CG elements were composited in real time both via the technodolly and the NCAM systems. In post-viz, the synchronization between what had been shot and what had been pre-visualized provided a blueprint as the final effects were evolved.
See? Easy, right? And my time is running out, but I wanted to say this is a very, very exciting moment in the history of all media, because of course the worlds of games and film are coming together, and they've made a new little baby we call VR or AR, virtual reality. And so we dove straight into VR about 2.5 years ago and have created many experiences already, but we're seeing it not only as a cool thing you can do with your friends on a Friday night. We're seeing it also as literally the means by which we're going to be working with the designers, the directors, the producers of the future, so that you can take any story and make a film, a game, a VR experience, maybe even a theme park attraction out of that creative collaboration, AKA the holodeck. That's what we're working on. And so at the end of the day, RIT was a huge motivator for me. It was exactly what I needed at the time to show me how to work with people, to pursue my dreams. And I was able to work with those filmmakers that I aspired to work with. And I was also able to take that and build my own business to help keep that going despite some of the difficulties of Hollywood. And then I wanted to make sure that all of our hard work was recognized not just on a technical level, but on an artistic level. And now that I've been inducted into the Academy and they've created a special category for us, it's very fulfilling of all the work that we've done over the years. And now, whether it be virtual production live on set like in Beauty and the Beast or the VR work that you just saw, this is my next big thing that I'm focused on for the rest of my career, is just finding ways to revolutionize the way in which people actually create media, regardless of what they're creating. And then lastly, and this is my true passion, is to make sure that we have change the business model in such a way where all of the creators, even the grassroots creators, have a chance to get their project funded and prototyped early on. So that's what I'm working on as well, and I think it's something that we all will be working on together between the universities of the world and the entrepreneurial creative companies. So congratulations to President Munson, and so honored to be here, and thank you so much.